Morning, guys. Dr. Kori here. Happy Monday. Welcome to your motivational mastery session. Getting back into this. Thanks for your grace. Been traveling a lot, so have missed, I think, maybe a couple weeks. But we're continuing our series on finding your happy. And today, the topic is maybe the thoughts that you call negative are actually your friends. I want to give you a little bit of a background here. I want to share with you something that one of our owner's clients sent her. And she contacted me and asked me some questions like, how do I respond to this? I'm not quite sure what to tell her. So here is what her client shared with her. She said, food. I plan my meals to take the thought and decision making out of eating, she said. However, once I'm done eating, I think about what else I want to eat and how long till the next meal. I could have the best meal of my life, she said, but I'm already on to the next thing, thinking about what I can eat the next time. I need to work on being present, she said. And I need to work on savoring my food. And this is clearly a client who has been going through our online classroom and those materials and the mental edge videos and practicing learning how to do a bit of mindful eating, right? She said, also, when my mind is wandering, like when I'm not doing something specific, it goes right back to food. I almost convince myself that I'm hungry even when I'm not. Or, she said, I think about all the not so great things that I want to eat. And then how I'd feel if I actually ate them. And then I spiral into this negative mindset and bad body image. I'm still working to improve my self-talk and my self-love, she says. It's definitely a process. But I've come really far since starting. And I want to reiterate here, guys, just how important it is when we begin to feel like we're struggling, that we deliberately and consciously and intentionally acknowledge what we are achieving, okay, through this process. It's more than just about food. It's more than just about weight. And by acknowledging the small wins, it moves us into a greater level of momentum and helps us to keep that motivation high. So she does that. I love it. And then she said, either way, my thoughts always seem to wander to food or body image or how I'm not getting to my goals fast enough. It's like a broken record. And I can recall saying out loud, she said, to her husband at least 7 times last week, quote, I don't want to think about food anymore. It's so frustrating. But the more you say you don't want to think about something, it's the first thing you think about. She's recognizing this. It's very psychological, and I don't know the best way to change that except to keep rewriting my story and then reframing what I'm saying to myself. So, with all that being said and everything she shared, here is my take on these circumstances. What she is calling a struggle or a battle, I see a little bit differently. Now, keep in mind, guys, I operate from a very strength-based perspective. And I think she needs to also. Here are my thoughts. Research indicates that what we pay attention to, we deem important. Now, the opposite holds true as well. What we deem important, we tend to pay attention to. Okay, this is a good thing to key in on. Now, research also demonstrates how when we have open loops, they're called, and these are uncertain outcomes, okay, that our brains will gravitate towards things. It will gravitate toward that thing incessantly. Now, people use this in a very strategic way. Authors use this all the time. They will stop in the middle of a sentence. They will stop at a place in their riding when, they feel like they need to keep going, but because now they've left it open, guess what's rattling around in the background? Okay? They're letting their subconscious do some work. The brain doesn't like open loops. That's why it keeps working, okay? The brain likes nice and tidy. So, it actually is a really great thing that she's having thoughts about food all the time. And that isn't going to end as long as she's still pursuing her weight loss goal. As long as she's still on this journey, it's not going to end. So I think getting in touch with that reality is very, very important, and beginning to see that this is actually a good thing, okay? She has a goal that revolves around her relationship with food. Now, if the food was her boyfriend or her partner or her child, would she be nearly as angry that she's thinking about it all the time? Okay? If she's a mom, for example, if she has a baby, a child, how often would she be thinking of that kid? All the freaking time. But she's also not thinking, man, I need to stop thinking about my kid all the time, right? Because it's important to her. If she was a mom, when that experience was new and it really demanded a lot of her attention and time to do it well, and any of you moms out there know it absolutely does. When she was learning how to be a mom, right now she's learning how to be a thinner person. Right now she's learning how to be more aware of what's going on up here and not to judge it, but just to be able to be with it. Have that sense of equanimity. Right now she's learning how to fuel her body in a way that she can maintain for the rest of her life. As diet doc clinicians, I like to help people understand that we're not teaching people how to diet. We are teaching people how to eat to have the best energy and vitality for their lives. Okay? Now, ultimately, with all that, she's learning how to be a healthy person. So she's going to be thinking about all the things that go along with being healthy. So she's going to have lots of thoughts about food. She's going to have lots of thoughts about how to relate to food. She's going to have lots of thoughts about how to eat food. And she's going to have lots of thoughts about how to see eating, I think, and the thoughts she has about eating through the lens of self-compassion. Okay? When we start to experience anxiety, the sense of struggle, just almost feeling a little bit desperate, one of the best antidotes is to come back to kindness and compassion. All right? And really self-respect. So, this operates on a continuum, of course. If the thoughts were negative and anxiety-provoking or threatening in some way, because she is feeling anxious, but the thoughts themselves aren't anxiety-provoking. That's different. She doesn't want to think about food anymore, but as she knows well, she can't stop her thoughts. She acknowledged that. So she needs to practice what? She needs to practice relating to her thoughts differently. She's judging them right now as negative, bad, and things that she needs to stop. Okay? So learning how to have a different relationship with her thoughts is also a goal. She needs to learn and practice approaching her thoughts with a sense of understanding, with a sense of openness, and with ease, okay? So she's very deep into an important goal. So, of course, she's going to be thinking about food because it's at the forefront. It's right here all the time. It's at the forefront of what becoming who she wants to be is all about. So, as a personal example, I've really gotten into cycling, and guys, all I think about is my bike. When I'm not answering client emails, I'm thinking about my bike. I'm doing this video, and of course, because I'm talking about my bike, like, I just have images of my bike in my head, okay? When I'm not writing, I'm thinking about my bike. When I'm not engaged in something, bike. That's what's in my head. And I'm not then thinking, man, I got to stop thinking about my bike. I like the energy behind that, okay? It's prompting me to explore and engage. And that's powerful. I want her to see the thoughts about food in that same way. So what more is there to learn? What else can I get curious about? Okay. So I would be having her practice talking to her thoughts like they're a person sitting across from her. Hey, dude, I know that you're super important and you have a lot to say. I get it. Thank you for sharing what you have to say. And then redirecting her attention. She can, if she approached them like that, then it isn't like she's fighting with them, right? If we approach anything with anger, with vitriol, with a sense of avoidance, you know what? Those things, and it happens with people too, those things or people, they just come back at us harder, all right? If we try to push them away, they become a bit more incessant. So, hope this helps, guys. You can apply this to any real goal, any real pursuit that you're involved in. Have an awesome week. Thanks.